Hello and welcome to another Wednesday night borrowing benefits group here at the Center for Inner Healing. My name is Ted Robinson. I'm your host, and we have some newcomers tonight, so I'm going to be teaching emotional freedom techniques. So if you've never seen it before, you don't know what it is, pay close attention. It's going to go by pretty quickly because you really don't need a lot to know a lot about it. All you need to do is just follow me and do whatever I do. You know, monkey see, monkey do. That's all you're going to wind up doing. It's not very sophisticated looking or anything like that, but I will tell you about emotional freedom technique. It's quite profoundly healing for people, and that's the idea. EFT is a meridian-based technique. Did you know you have meridians in your body? Well, meridians are what acupuncturists use. You heard of acupuncture, right, where they put the needles in? And what they're doing is they're accessing your meridians. Now, meridians are not actually like blood vessels. They're little pathways that run through your body. And the interesting thing is they run the same places in everybody's body. There's a chart over there on the wall that you can actually look at and see the meridians. They were mapped out as much as 5,000 years ago in Tibet and China. Kind of cool, huh? And what happens is the basic premise of EFT, emotional freedom technique, is that all negative thoughts, I'm taking my time purposely because I really want you to focus on this, negative thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, like I'm not good enough, I can't do it, why am I such a victim, why does the world always turn on me every time I go anyplace, nothing goes right. Those are negative thoughts and self-limiting beliefs. I'm not good enough is a really good one. We get that a lot. It's not unusual for people to feel that way. And anyway, aberrant behavior, any kind of aberrant behavior, alcoholism, gambling addictions, you name it, that's part of it. So in other words, any kind of aberrant thought process or behavior comes within the auspices of emotional freedom technique. And also pain, physical pain and emotional pain. So people can be in both of them at the same time, but it's all the same. And it's all a result of a simple blockage in one or more of your meridians. Can you imagine? Your meridian's just blocked. Now you might say, well how's that happen? What do you mean, I'm going to have a blockage? No, blockages happen because of impacts, physical, emotional, and chemical. Trauma, in other words. It doesn't have to be a big impact. It could just be a little, but if you're in just the wrong place at the wrong time, in the wrong position, you can go out, right? So that's the idea of it. We don't really know what's going to cause trauma to us, but trauma is what impacts on our meridians, blocks the energy can't flow, and it causes negative thoughts, self-limiting beliefs, aberrant behavior, and pain. Is that clear enough? You get it all? Well, you may very well be blocked, and you might not be as blocked as you think. You see, our conscious mind really doesn't get any of this. Our conscious mind is really, it's where our ego is, it's where our willpower is, it's where our short-term memory is, and our ability to sort of function in the world, but it's not that smart. It makes up reasons. It rationalizes and justifies and often gets wrong what's really going on within us. But we think that's what it is, and it's not it at all. That's what the most amazing part of this is. And you'll find that certain things that you thought were absolutely massive in your life go away in a short period of time. And some things that are small take a long time. Doesn't make any logical sense, but remember, the part of your body that we're dealing with, the meridians, is your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind. And those parts of your mind are not logical. They're all over the place. It's like a 3-year-old emotionally. You ever see a 3-year-old? 1 minute they're la 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 la, next minute they're throwing a tantrum, the next minute they're having a good time. Does that make any sense to our conscious minds? Not at all. But that's who we all are underneath our conscious facade. Okay? That's my little explanation. Now that's EFT and what it's about. Now, you might say, well, that sounds pretty good. What do we do? The answer is we tap on various meridian access points. Now that's the starting point of the meridians, basically. Starting points, and I'm going to show them to you in a moment, is sort of like taking a drinking straw that's got a little bit of milk or fluid in the middle of it, and it won't come out, right? You've seen that. What do? You tap the top of the straw, right? That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to tap the top of the straw, tap the top of the straw, and you say, well, where's the straw? You said it was just a pathway. It's a metaphor. And there's a blockage somewhere in there. We're going to tap it and break the blockage and let the energy flow again. Good evening. Come right in. I think you already know this part. So you go ahead and take your time. So the only thing that changes, the first thing that came about was a thing called thought field therapy, TFT. This is EFT. And the reason it's different and better in a lot of ways is because you don't have to know specific points that you must tap on in a specific order. You just tap on them all. There's only 8 points. So it's pretty easy to remember where they are. It's pretty easy to tap on all the points each time. That way you can't miss. So in other words, if somebody said, well, if I have a headache, I'm going to tap here. I'm making this up, by the way. If I have a stomach ache, I'll tap over here. And the answer is, great, if you know those points. I don't want to know the points. You know why? Because I'm a lawyer. And if I tell you tap on this point for your stomach, I'm effectively diagnosing and specifically treating something. I'm not licensed to do that. I'm very wary of that. So I don't know which points go to where. I purposely have dumbed it down for me. I don't want to know. You can find out. Go find a book and look up thought field therapy. They'll tell you. But I don't want to know. Because it's so easy to just change my focus and tap on every point again. It's 8 points. It's going to take you about 10 seconds. Pretty good? So the point, we're going to do 2 parts. First off, whenever we do a tapping round, except about resistance to change, which we start with all the time. But if you have a headache, if you're worried, if you're anxious, if you have this going on in your life or that going on in your life, how badly do you feel about that between 0 and 10? That's called a SUDS, Subjective Unit of Discomfort Scale, SUDS. It's used in every emergency room and hospital in America. So it's pretty subjective. That's the whole idea. S means subjective unit of discomfort scale. Come on in. So back to the discussion of what EFT is all about and how to do it. So with EFT, the only thing we change is how we focus your mind. So if you say, I have a lot of anxiety about making a turkey dinner. That's a pretty typical thing the night before Thanksgiving. And we might even deal with that tonight. Who knows? How much anxiety? Well, my mother-in-law's coming over. I have a 9. 9 out of 10? You sure now? 9 out of 10. And so all we'll do is we'll say, even though I have this anxiety or this worry or this fear about cooking a dinner and getting it perfect and right and all the rest of it, I don't like to be judged, and I'll talk about it a little bit. All it is just talking about it. But what the purpose of the talking is to bring the emotion of fear and anxiety up in you. If you're feeling it, I don't have to even talk about it. We'll just do it. Don't need words for this, really. The reason I use the words is because I draw things in from out of left field that people aren't expecting. Oh, where'd that come from? But it hits them a lot of times, and that's the idea. I want to catch you off guard at times when you're not expecting something so that I actually access some additional emotion. It's the emotions that matter, the negative emotions. So when you're feeling negative, that's great. And here's the other thing I want to give you right now, because I mentioned this with somebody I was working with today. You'll hear me use inflections in my voice. I'm very emotional in my presentation. Mirror that, please. Be as emotional as you can. If you can't be emotional, raise your voice. Shout at me. Scream at me. It's fine. I don't take any of it personal. Now, the reason for that is because the more you're screaming, the more you're yelling or being loud and emotional, the better it's going to be for you, because you're going to block those meridians better with emotion. You follow? So the more you're feeling lousy in the moment, the better. And that's really hard for a lot of people. They say, I don't want to feel badly. It'll only be for a few moments. Just feel as lousy about whatever it is as you can. She often feels like her heart's going to explode or she's going to vomit. I actually have to hand her the wastebasket at times so she doesn't ruin my rug. And she really does feel that way, because I exhort her to do that. I want her to do that, because the more she feels, the better the result. And that's true for everybody. So if I'm raising my voice, raise it with me, okay?
Call him an asshole.
And you can call me anything you like, as long as it's in keeping with what we're doing. I don't want to be abused, but I allow for that, because sometimes you're going to feel like, hey, screw you, Ted, but much stronger. And that's fine with me. I don't take any of this personally. But I encourage you to feel is the idea. Whatever you're feeling, feel it fully as you can, and you'll get better results. So the idea is we're going to say some words. We're going to say, even though I have this feeling, I love and accept myself nonetheless, or something along those lines. That's what's called the setup. We may say that a little bit, talk about it a little bit, get those feelings running, and then we're going to start doing the tapping. And it starts right up here, and these are the tapping points you're going to want to remember. The first one's right here on the side or edge of your palm. You're going to use the first two fingers of your dominant hand and just go like that. The next thing you're going to do is tap the top of your head. You might want to do this with me just so you can feel it and I can correct it if necessary. A nice oval like that. That's good. The next one is the eyebrow point, which is right where the eyebrow and the nose meet. Right up in there. That's right. You may have to move your glasses a bit. Not in the middle, on either side. Because sometimes we're going to go like this and double it up. Okay? So it's on either side, right in that juncture. The next point is going to be at the side of the eyes. One or two, it doesn't matter. I like to do two sometimes. You'll see me out. If I feel really strongly about something, we'll double it up. I'll say, let's just supercharge it, you know? Because remember, there are matching meridians, one on this side and one on this side. It's called a bilateral system. So if you're tapping this one will eventually clear too, but when you're tapping them both, it just kind of speeds the process. You follow? The next one is under the eye, and that's right under the eyeball. It's not out here, it's not in here. It's right up under the eyeball on that ocular bone, about 1/8 of an inch below your lower lid. The next one's under your nose, right in the cleft of the upper lip. The next one's under the mouth, and you can oftentimes just go like that. It works. The next one is a very important point. I want you to know how to do this one properly. This is called your collarbone point. It's about 1 inch. Well, feel your collarbone, first off. Feel the middle point with that very center where the two little rounded bones are. Feel those little rounded bones. That's a good spot right there. And then the actual technical spot is down 1 inch and out 1 inch. You can just tap all over the place. Makes it fine. I like that little bone, though. It seems to work for me really well. So it may work for you. The last point is under the armpit. For ladies, it'll be on your bra strap, about midway front to back on the body, not the breast. A little further back for you, right there. You know? A little higher. And this way. May I show you?
Sure.
It'll be right there. And yours is going to be right about there. You want me to show you? Just check it. No, it's going to be right about. It should hurt a little bit right in there. It's going to be tender. If it's tender, you're in the right spot. Okay? Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, right about there. Okay? Whisper, whisper, whisper. All right, so got all the points? That's it. You've just learned EFT. Now we're going to practice.